Morning, folks. 4:50 in the morning, West Coast time. It's the 17th of February, 2024. The Weaver John City, Roseman, California. Barely alive, barely awake. The zombie is here. Anyway, responding to a few videos I keep coming across, and one of them's from Bo the Fifth Column, aka Justin King. Mr. King, good morning, sir. You're talking about the GoFundMe for Trump. You know this guy's been constantly doing this damn thing even before he started doing his belly aching after that court hearing we just had Friday. He's been still constantly wailing because he still needs more money for his legal fees. And you're making all these damn calculations in my head. One guy is going to take from the Jurassic period all the way up to give that money or make that much money. You keep forgetting, dude. Con, grift, massive amounts mean money coming in your pocket. So let's say we're talking about 25. So 255 million divided by how many populations? He's probably got about 40, 50, maybe about a million people at this point over here. You're saying something about $15 an hour. Then you keep forgetting a few things. You're trying to keep it simplified. Let's make it realistic. Other states are not going to have $15 an hour for a minimum wage. They're going to have less than that in their states. It's going to become more of a challenge at that point. But they're going to be pouring their out heart and souls by having bake sales and stuff like that, getting money from other sources to funnel into the Trump campaign, because that's what they do. So they will make about maybe 2 or 3 thousand, maybe an event or two, and maybe a little bit more than that if they're lucky enough to get all the other suckers who are doing $5 or $10 an hour for baked goods that other people are going to be spending maybe about $10 or $20 an hour. We're going to be making deficits here. The math in the head is really hard as hell to work on because I'm seeing the deficits going on. But people are going to be going into deficits because they want to see Trump in office. They're that dedicated and that brainwashed. They think he made the world a safer place. Dumb shit. Never did. He didn't. They said it was a safer place because we didn't have to go to war. No, we were at a situation, and he made it a lot worse. We had worse shootings happening in the country. Does anybody remember this crap? No. I can say all the nice positive things about the Trump at this point, but let's just deal with the economics. So let's just say, dude, you got your selected red states. How much are they willing to pull in? How much are they willing to pull out their savings to deal with Trump? I mean, if we're talking about 20 states, and each state's got about more than a million at this point over here, you're talking about somewhat of a chunk of change coming in that may or may not support his ass. If he's lucky enough, he may get about 3 or 5 million out of it. If he's more than that, if he's more luckier than that, he may get about 10 million if he's lucky. Now 355 is going to break his empire. His GoFundMe page is barely going to be covering the lawyer's expenses. That's all he was doing. He was paying for lawyers' expenses. And lucky enough, if he actually had any money coming from the RNC to help pay for his other stuff. See, he's not that well off. He's been bled dry. But even if we are talking about one person going to be supporting Trump, $15 an hour from the Jurassic stage, how many hours are we talking about to get to the stage that he needs just from one person? No, because it's not just working hard and being a brainwashed idiot. You're talking about millions of brainwashed idiots. Let's just say, for example, that our country has 100 million people. A good chunk of them, maybe about 40%, 30 to 40% of that would be Trump supporters. So let's say about 30 or 40 million. Okay, each individuals. Now, let me see if I can do the math on this one here. And this is going to be a long ass letter, so I'll pause. Okay, my math may be off. But I just wanted to show you a little ad hoc math right now. Scratch your heads, do a screenshot on this one. Verify if you have to, guys. 100 million people in our country. Let's say 40 million of those people are Trump supporters. If they each gave $5, they would match about 200 million. But let's just say if they actually had $10 in their pocket and they gave it out freely, that would be about 400 million. That would cover his expenditures. Assuming, of course, you're going to find someone who's got $10 in his pocket willing enough to give that away. I'm not saying how they got it. I'm not saying where and why they got it. I'm saying if they got it. And if they do have it. If they do have it, this is what they'll do. They got 10 pockets burning in them, and they happen to probably see a charity. And the charity happens to deal with Trump. How many people go to this particular charity event that they can actually gather through word of mouth? A community, right? Well, how much a community we're talking about? 200, actually about 20,000? 2,000? That's still one chunk of change right there. Assuming, of course, the person still has $10 left in his pocket, his or hers, or otherwise, and able to shell that money out. I'm not doing this Jurassic crap for people to understand. Blow them away on that one. That just doesn't work. They're not going to grasp that one there, Justin. You look at the community bake sales. You look at the GoFundMe drives going on. Much like the other political contenders are doing it. They're going to be doing the contenders. They're going to be doing the GoFundMe pages, but they're also going to be doing individual events to community places. They're going to be gathering the money one way or another. Just at one-time donation of each Trump supporter of 40 million actually donated $10. He could pay that damn bill off like crazy and still have enough to pay off the damn lawyers. Not enough to run on, he'll be asking for more. So now the poor Trump supporter who's probably barely working his ass off or complaining about not getting enough money from the federal government or from the employers, but if they are, he's going to get the money one way or another. Not all of them Trump supporters look like they're poor hicks. Some of them actually do wear suits and work in buildings. I'm talking about the commoner at this point over here. I'm not talking about the big corporations that are pulling out on him left and right because they see him to be a bad risk. And because he's got a judgment against him in New York, that's already set off the chain of events going on for him to gain any kind of corporate sponsorship, let alone billions of dollars. That's setting up a precedent across the globe. All those billion dollar whatever funding they use. All them rich folks who have the money pocketed away. They're going to be looking at Trump as a loser at this point. Even Putin's going to be looking at Trump as a loser. The one thing that you hadn't said in your damn videos, and you hadn't compared anything to history with this schmuck, not just him being a grifter at this point over here, and being a damn thief, and a liar, cheating, a con, and it's already been proven in the courts. He's a mobster. What we think of mobsters these days are not just the guys coming out with the old-fashioned Tommy guns back in the 20s and 30s making their mark. Oh, no. We're talking about a guy who's brainwashed and hooked people left and right to do his bidding. They're the ones getting out the damn artillery, paying for it, and shooting at people left and right. But they're also the ones trying to get the money going to funnel into his account. Die-hard cultists. But for me, a mobster still wants money. He wants power. He uses fear and intimidation. Hello? What does he use on people? Fear and intimidation. He uses his own foot soldiers. See, we don't have to do the mobster of the 20s and 30s anymore. We got cultists can do the job for us as, you know, as our henchmen. So now we got this stuff. It's called using the imagination, my friend. There are connections after connections after connections. You still gotta weave into a story. I like stories. I weave them into my head, trying to make things sense out of a lot of things we're running into, trying to find the common threads. We don't live in a wonderful world. We live in a world that's constantly under survival at this point. We had never lost it. We've always been fighting for resources, for land, for water, for fuel, for air. But since we get civilizations established, we're looking for money and power and control. And if we control resources, we can also control the people. Fear and intimidation at the time, or maybe with justly, we can rule them with laws, rules and regulations, maybe to moderate and not try to control us to death, but at least have working civilization that may be traded with other civilizations. Our hopes, our dreams, the fallacies sometimes we keep thinking about. But all in all, we're just struggling people. We're struggling creatures on a planet. Never knowing a day of peace half the time because every day is a struggle. Every time we're living in our mortal breath. Tried going for that one. But no, let's talk about GoFundMe Trump. GoFundMe for Trump. I think I already covered it. So, if you don't mind, I'm going to go to the GoFundMe page and say, go broke, Trump. Be like the rest of us schmucks out here. Because unfortunately, we're dealing with what we're dealing with. The scraps ends. We're dealing with scraps all the time, trying to make our own little empire.